Imagine your home isn't made of walls and wood, but of invisible energy. Every object you let inside either feeds that energy or slowly suffocates it. So look around the room you're in right now. Does it feel like a sanctuary that restores you after a brutal day? Or does it look like a to-do list, screaming at you with unfinished tasks and dust? Most of us are trapped in the same exhausting cycle. We let chaos win from Monday to Friday, then sacrifice our weekend to a stressful, multi-hour cleaning marathon. We buy storage bins. We watch satisfying cleaning videos for a dopamine hit. We promise ourselves next week will be different. Then, within 48 hours, the magic completely fades. The clutter creeps back onto the counters, the chairs, the nightstand, like a slow, inevitable tide. And you're left feeling defeated, carrying a quiet weight of guilt, wondering why you can't just have the discipline to keep things clean. But the problem was never your willpower. The problem is that we treat cleaning as a massive event instead of a quiet, daily rhythm. We keep treating the symptom, again and again, and never the actual root cause. So let's go somewhere that solves this differently. In Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, some of the smallest apartments on the planet, people work brutal hours, commute on packed trains, and carry enormous daily pressure. Yet the moment you step into a Japanese home, something shifts. There's a stillness in the air. Every object seems to know exactly where it belongs. No overflowing drawers, no mountain of laundry, no visual noise draining your mental battery. And here's the part that matters. This piece isn't bought. No smart gadgets, no interior designer, no secret product. It's the byproduct of micro-habits. Actions so small they've become invisible. In Japan, people don't need a weekend to clean their home because they never let the mess start in the first place. Imagine waking up to a kitchen that's already spotless. Imagine never digging through the house for your keys. Imagine coming home, and instead of a second shift of chores, just sitting down with tea and actually resting. This isn't reserved for minimalists or people with more time than you. It's 5 tiny habits. Each one takes seconds, not hours. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one to start with tonight. Let's get into them. Habit 1. The zero-delay transition clutter is rarely created all at once. It's built from tiny deferred decisions. You finish your coffee, you're running late, so the mug goes in the sink instead of getting washed. You haven't made a mess, you've just postponed it. But you've left a loose thread in your space. By evening, your house is full of these temporary resting places. Mail on the entryway table, a charger tangled on the sofa, a water bottle on the nightstand. Each one is a small contract signed with your future self. And even if you consciously ignore them, your brain doesn't. Every glance at that unwashed mug is a tiny hit of cognitive friction, a micro-stressor that quietly drains your mental energy and feeds decision fatigue. Japanese culture closes that loop immediately. A task isn't finished until the tools are back where they came from. Finishing tea doesn't end when the cup is empty. It ends when the cup is washed, dried, and put away. That's the zero-delay transition. You eliminate the gap between using something and returning it. Touch it once. Open the drawer, use the scissors, put them straight back, not on the coffee table, for later. Take off your coat, hang it up immediately, not over the back of a chair, until bedtime. It feels slightly rigid at first, almost like an unnecessary rule for someone who's already tired. But within a few weeks, something shifts. Your mind feels lighter because there's no longer a running list of unfinished loops sitting in the back of your brain. The house stays clean, not because you scrubbed it on a Saturday, but because you never left a mess behind in the first place. Habit 2. The sanctuary border. Protecting your home's interior is only half the job. You also need to control what crosses the border. This is the Genkan, the small lower entryway found in nearly every Japanese home, separated from the living space by a single step. To a Western eye, it looks like a mudroom, but in Japanese thinking, it's a psychological airlock, the line where the chaos of the outside world ends and the sanctuary begins. You step down, remove your shoes, turn them to face the door, and step up into slippers. Outside, dust and grime stop dead at that line. But the real transformation is mental. After a stressful day, that small physical ritual of removing your shoes tells your nervous system, the noise stays out there. I'm home now. In the West, we skip this entirely. We walk street shoes straight across the carpet, into the kitchen, into the bedroom, dragging the sidewalk, the office, the subway, into the one place meant to be safe from all of it. We bring the stress of the day right up to our own bedside. You don't need a traditional wooden step to fix this. Put a shoe rack by your door. Add a clean mat. Get real indoor slippers you actually enjoy wearing. Make one non-negotiable rule. Street shoes never cross that line, for you or for anyone who visits. It's a 1-minute habit that keeps your floors clean, and it quietly builds a shield around your home so the chaos of the outside world has nowhere left to follow you in. Habit 3. Conscious belonging. Look around your home right now. Tangled cords for devices you no longer own. Containers with no matching lid. Promotional mugs. Old notebooks. Boxes of electronics gathering dust. And every time we consider clearing them out, we default to the same line. I might need this someday. Japan has a word for the alternative. Mottainai. A kind of reverence for objects and regret at wasting their purpose. When you hoard things you don't use, you're not being frugal. You're stripping the object of its purpose and turning it into dead weight. The question that cuts through this is simple. Does this object have an active place in my life today? Not 5 years ago. Not for a hobby you've outgrown. Today. If the answer is no, Japanese practice doesn't discard it with indifference. It lets it go with gratitude, then donates or recycles it. Tonight, try this. Pick one drawer or shelf. Take everything out. Hold each item and ask it that question. Keep what's genuinely active. Thank and release the rest. Every extra object is a small tax on your attention. It demands to be dusted, organized, considered, moved out of the way. None of this is about cold, empty minimalism. It's about intention. Clear what belongs to your past, and you make physical and mental room for what's actually yours now. Habit 4. The compounding rhythm. We assume a clean home requires massive effort. So we wait until the sink overflows and the floor is visibly dirty before dedicating an entire afternoon to it. By the end, you're drained, your back hurts, and your brain quietly files cleaning under things to dread and delay. Japanese homes sidestep this with a version of osoji, treating upkeep not as an event, but as a continuous rhythm. It's easier to maintain order than to rebuild it from chaos. So instead of splitting the day into living time and cleaning time, tiny actions get woven directly into normal movement. 20 seconds wiping the counter after breakfast, rinsing the pot while it's still in your hand. 5 seconds on the faucet after brushing your teeth. Alone, each action is almost too small to notice. Your brain doesn't even register it as work. But stacked across a single day, they work like compound interest. 20 seconds here, 30 there, and the mess simply never gets the chance to build up. There's no marathon session waiting for you on Saturday because there was never enough disorder to earn one. Cleaning stops being a forced, dreaded event and becomes something closer to breathing. Habit 5. A fixed address for every object. Think about the last time you tore your house apart looking for your keys 5 minutes before you had to leave. That panic wasn't caused by a small house or a bad memory. It happened because the object didn't have a permanent address. In Japan, where space is genuinely scarce, everything has one. A remote doesn't drift between the couch, the bed, and the counter. That's treated as a system failure. This isn't about buying more storage. It's about giving every object a fixed identity, so your brain never has to spend energy deciding where something goes. Pick one category tonight: keys, wallet, sunglasses, and give it one permanent spot. A bowl by the door works fine. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be fixed. Commit to placing those items there the second you walk in, every single time. No exceptions. Once an object has a home, putting it away takes 2 seconds, and finding it takes none. You trade constant searching, constant micro-panic, for smooth, automatic transitions, the kind you barely even notice you're making. The philosophy behind it all. There's one idea that ties all 5 habits together. Ma, the beauty of empty space. In the West, we treat emptiness as a problem to solve. A blank wall gets a picture. An empty shelf gets filled. An open corner gets a plant. Japanese design sees it the opposite way. Empty space isn't nothing. It's what gives everything else meaning. Music isn't beautiful because of non-stop notes. It's beautiful because of the silence between them. Without that silence, it's just noise. The same is true for your home. Fill every inch with objects, and you create visual noise your mind can never rest in. Nowhere for your eyes to settle. Nowhere for your thoughts to go quiet. We overcrowd our rooms the same way we overcrowd our calendars, our inboxes, and our phone galleries full of screenshots we'll never open again. And then stand in the middle of it all, exhausted, wondering why we feel constantly overwhelmed. None of this is about chasing a rigid aesthetic or throwing away things you love. It's about clearing physical and mental noise so there's actual room for what matters. A clean home was never meant to impress anyone walking through the door. It's meant to do one thing. The second you step out of your shoes, the weight of the world should start to lift. So look at your space with fresh eyes, right now, exactly as it is. Which one of these 5 habits will you give your future self? Starting tonight, before you even finish watching this. If this video gave you something genuinely useful, hit subscribe, and let's keep walking this quiet path together, one tiny habit at a time. Until next time, protect your space and let your mind finally, truly breathe.